Welcome to episode something of the Quick Time Event Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Josh, and as always, I'm joined by my partner in crime, John.
Numbers are hard.
It's 140 something. The Quick Time Event Podcast is a chance for John and I to get together each and every week to talk about all of the nerdy things that we love. If you like what you hear, you can find this podcast live on twitch.tv/QTE Plays every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, or on all of your favorite podcast services all across the internet shortly after the live show ends, and on YouTube the following day. This week we have a few little topics to get to, some really frustrating topics at the towards the end of the show, concerning Google Stadia and some Nintendo stuff, and then we're going to be talking about the GDC survey that had results released just recently this week, and then both Xbox and Sony made some moves today, actually. So we'll get to all of that at some point this evening. But before we get there, John, what you been up to? What is that? That was a cool can. It looks like, is it matte? It looks matte.
It is matte. It's a brewery called Oddside, and it is a raspberry blood orange fruitsicle. So it's a fruit ale. I don't know if it's a sour or if it's an ale or what, but I can handle it. I'm gonna try it, and by try it I mean I've had it over the weekend, and I was like, okay, I can drink this.
How did the human race go? How long has the human race been around? Millions of years. How did the human race go until the year in annuum day? I don't remember the Latin word. Whatever. AD year 2010-ish, before we decided that we were gonna make craft beer and beer that actually like tastes good. Why did it take that long for that to happen? Because up until 2010, like, craft beer was nothing. I mean, there were like craft breweries, but they were so small. They were microbreweries. Like, no major supermarket
if you wanted to get a drink
any of that
tasted that had flavor, you had to go to where it was made.
Sure.
You could not get it in the store.
That, or like you go to the bar, or it was all like liquor. Like, there was no choice. Your choice was Bud or Miller if you wanted a standard beer, or you would go below that to the shit beer. Like, there was no variety, at least in the United States. This might not be the case around the world, but in the United States there was just no variety until 2010, when
your variety was you're getting a beer, one of like 3 that to me all tasted identical.
Sure.
You're getting a cider, or you're getting hard liquor or wine. That was it.
Now,
those are your options.
Now there's like really like Imperial IPA is a specific style of a specific style of beer. It is a subgenre of a subgenre of beer. You go to the grocery store now and you can find like 12 beers that fit that subgenre. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad it happened. Because I do not like any of the like standard beers. So these ones that are a little more fruity or flavorful are a lot more manageable by me. So now I can like not just drink ciders or liquor. Some variety. It's the spice of life.
Sure.
Anyways, what have I been up to? I played more Final Fantasy VII. I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm misled because I'm 13 or 14 hours in. But I'm on mission 9 or chapter 9 out of 18.
Did you get to Wall Market yet?
I just saw Wall Market. We're taking the like tunnel from sectors 5 to sector 7, and we saw Wall Market, but we were like, "No, we're gonna go through this abandoned tunnel instead."
I would say you're about 40% of the way through the game.
Okay, because I was like, by the chapter numbers, this is the halfway chapter, but how long to beat put it at like 35 to 40 hours, and let's just round up and say I'm at 15 hours. Like, that's still not quite halfway. So
yeah, you're not quite halfway there. I think
some of the later chapters get kind of lengthy.
Yes. The Wall Market chapter, because they all blend together. I forgot there were so many chapters in that game.
Sure.
The Wall Market chapter, for me, I remember it being really long. I think that one's pretty long. And then the one after that is pretty short. It goes back and forth, for sure.
Okay.
There are some that are like really short, and there are some that are longer.
I'm having fun with it. My biggest issue is that, like, and this is just a thing now, and I think I've talked about it before, but like starting something, even just starting a game that I really enjoy, is so incredibly difficult right now for whatever reason. Like, whenever I sit down and I'm like, okay, it's Final Fantasy VII time, it's great. I will sit down and I'll put in like 3 or 4 hours at least and just have a grand old time. But like, the amount of effort it takes for me to actually be like, okay, I'm going to sit down and play this. It's like climbing a mountain. Like, it's just like, I don't know why. I feel like I'm almost developing like ADD or something, but that's not the case. Cause like, it doesn't affect any other aspect of my life, just like the entertainment part. So I don't know what the hell is going on, but it is just so difficult to like want to have fun, I guess. Question mark.
I felt similarly with this year, especially. Like, I've started a bunch of games and have not gotten, like, I've just put them down.
Sure.
Some of them, it's all had a reason, but like most of the time it's just like, I'm just not feeling it. And I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if that's like a problem just like I'm having right now, or, I mean, it's totally okay. We should normalize not finishing every game we play. That should be a thing.
Yeah, no.
Like
100%. It's just like Final Fantasy VII Remake. Whenever I sit down and play it, I love it. I'm having a great time. But as soon as I stop and like I go to bed and then I wake up the next day, I'm like, I should play that. And then I get off work and I'm like, I don't want to do.
Sure.
I don't want to have fun. I just want to stare.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of it. It is a feat. Like, you're knowing that you have to, not that you have to, but knowing that you're going to dedicate 3 hours to it because you're having fun with it, and like knowing that like you're going to be spending a significant chunk of time doing something, there's like a barrier to like push yourself to want to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like procrastination, but for enjoyment. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's like kind of the same flavor.
I don't get it. Like, and it has bled into some other things too. Like, I've been telling myself, okay, I want to get back into drawing. So just at the end of the day, sit down with one of the fucking 30 sketchbooks I picked up from the art store that went out of business and just doodle for 5 minutes. Like, nothing super committed. Just fucking pick up a pen and let it go for 5-10 minutes. Don't go crazy, but just start. And I can't even do that. I don't know why. Because
again, if you're making it feel like a chore, you know, it's like
yeah.
I don't know. That kind of stuff is like
life feels like a chore right now. The things that I should be enjoying, I'm like, I don't want to do. I don't know what I want to do though. That's the problem. I'm like, okay, I'm off work and I don't have a commute right now because I'm working from home, and I already made dinner for like 3 nights in a row, so I don't have to cook. Like, what do I want to do? And I don't. Right now, I don't know, and it's weird and scary.
I feel that.
Yeah. Anyways, so Final Fantasy VII is very fun. I'm almost officially at the halfway point. I think I said that last week, but One Piece obviously keeps on keeping on. And I started, but I don't know if I'm going to continue Kentucky Route Zero.
Right?
I don't.
What is it?
I feel so uncertain about it.
What is it? Like, I don't understand. I don't get it.
Like, I finished the first act.
Yeah.
And there's 5 acts.
Yep.
But I finished the first act and I'm like, what the fuck am I, what am I playing?
It only more questions get risen. No, nothing gets resolved. I could not tell you the first thing that happened. Like, I didn't know what happened when I finished the game. I platinumed that game and I don't know what the fuck happened to it. A year removed from it, I could not even tell you like any names of the characters. I could not tell you what happened. I vaguely remember there being like a hole in the ground. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck that game is. I don't know why it was reviewed. It's like one of the best games of the generation.
The TV version just won an award because it came out last year, right?
Yeah.
Didn't it just win like most, I don't know, artistic or something from like a major gaming award show?
Almost every major website, every major games outlet that did a Games of the Decade list last year, because this is a game that it released episodically, starting in like 2000.
The TV version just has all of them.
Yeah, it was like 2000. It was early 2000 teens, like 2011, 2012, I think, maybe 13.
Sure.
Very early part of last decade is when that game started to launch. Every major outlet that did a Games of the Decade list had this thing in the top 5. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't It's like, either. And I used them when I played last year. I used the metaphor of it being like this high art piece, and I can't wrap my head around it.
Like so far, all I'm getting is that like in Kentucky and areas like Kentucky, I know that you had mentioned the housing market may be affecting like the
it was born boom. Yeah, it was born out of the recession. This like the themes of the game are supposed to relate back to the recession.
The one that I'm getting is, and I know this just because of different stuff that I've read up on, but like I know a lot of coal towns have been hit super hard in the last decade, just because a lot of, I mean, with light natural gas and like fracking and all that stuff, there's cleaner, more efficient ways to power the country. So like coal mining has taken a real big hit, and like all those small towns that thrived off of it are not doing too well. So I've definitely got that theme from the game. I'm sort of seeing a little bit of like the housing market stuff with at the very start. You go to, I forget her name, and I just played this. But you go to like some Marquise, some person's house, and they're like, oh yeah, we were in the red and we tore down this house and built a new one. And it's like, okay, that sucks. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And like somebody got a pretty much useless degree trying to use math to translate English to Spanish. And I'm just like, what? How does this all connect? What is this?
I don't think it does. I think these are just like, I think honestly, they're all just little vignettes that like.
It feels, you know what it feels like? To me, it feels like a depressing version of Humans of New York, but you play it instead of just read it.
You know, that's probably not a bad way to think about it. Yeah.
Stories that are like, oh, I met my wife on a train, and it goes into like this little tangent for 2 paragraphs, and then that's it. You had a little blip. That's what this feels like, but as a video game, and incredibly upsetting and depressing.
That's not a bad way to think about it at all, when you're talking about those little vignettes. But there is a through story with the main character you're playing, and
you're trying to fucking make a delivery,
right? And the girl that you pick up along
Shannon.
the way. Shannon. I think.
No, it is. I picked her up in the mine very recently.
Okay.
Unless there's another girl you pick up.
Yeah, I don't remember that. That's the thing. I don't remember who exactly I'm thinking of. But like there's these 2 characters that like something paranormal happens to one of them, and I don't understand. Is it that like her cousin's back in town, but they kind of talk about it almost as if her cousin's been dead? Or is it something else? I don't know what happened with that. I remember that plot line being laid down, but I don't remember how it got resolved or if it got resolved. No, it's the main character. The main character. Okay. Oh, and then are you playing the little like interlude things? There's this weird, there are these super weird interludes that like some of them take the form of like stage plays. It's very bizarre. It's weird. So bizarre.
Oh yeah, and then the main character, like, it's kind of vague, but it definitely feels like he had and questionably still has a drinking problem that at least caused a lot of grief in his life.
Sure.
Like based on some of the dialogue options where it's like, what kind of debt do you have? And he's like, I just owe a lot of people apologies. And it's like, oh no.
Yeah, there's a lot in that game that I just
like, it's It does definitely feel like what you were describing it as, which is very high art.
Me
like,
I if you get, I want you to play at least 2 more chapters. And
if I play 2 more chapters, I'm beating it.
That's fair.
Because at that point, I'll be 3 in, and it's like I'm past the halfway point. This only took like what 5-6 hours at that point. What's another 4 hours of my life instead of fucking contemplating what to do whenever I get out for?
I guess that's fair.
For 4 hours and then just go to bed instead.
Yeah. I just like, I don't know. I really tried. I really tried my hardest to like try and look at that and analyze it and like be thoughtful in my critique of it and like try and actually get something out of it. And I just couldn't.
Sure.
I could not. I couldn't.
Yeah, it is a right now for me at least, it's a tough read. Mostly just the fucking overarching plot. Cuz if it's just a collection of small stories to
sure, that's one
really
thing.
Hammer home that like life kind of sucks sometimes. All right, fine, I got you. Cool. Let's be depressed and go through this together, but like that's not what it is. Otherwise, we would be flashing between different characters. We wouldn't be the same character running into all these other characters.
Yeah.
I do like the did you play the episodic or did you play it on the TV version, or how'd you play it?
Yeah, I played the TV version.
I like the way that you get around the map.
Yeah.
The little wheel driving through like the basically just a road map.
Right.
That's kind of creative.
It's kind of unique, yeah. But like those interludes, it's just, I don't know.
How do I access those?
I can't remember. I think it was on the main, like before you load into the chapter. I thought that there were like.
Maybe this is what it is. So that screen is a big circle that looks like a clock, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And then in between the Roman numerals is like the story, like it's the plot that you're actually doing, like the main stuff. I think if you click on the numerals themselves, it's a different thing. Is that what it is?
I think so. It's I think it's somewhere on that wheel.
Okay.
But yeah.
And like
the main character isn't
just some of the weird shit. It's just like you're driving along this map and you find a bait shop and you go in and like there's this whole fucking tree of options of things you can do, and like one of them is you can stick your hand in one of the tanks and then like you stick it in farther and then you like pass out, and it's like what? Why? What? Who would do this? Who would go into a bait shop and fucking do this?
Okay, that's why I want you to. That thread gets really fucking weird, and the way it ends is really
the bait shop one.
Well, no, when you stick your hand in there, something bad happened to you, and like that, like that's not done. No,
something bad happened. I passed out, and the guy was like, "Oh, you all right?" And I think my character was just like grumbled and stumbled off.
That's not. It's gonna turn into a paranormal thing. And that's the part I don't understand, is the paranormal piece.
I thought it was just like angry bait.
if you at least maybe it's not connected, but I think it is. I think it is connected because something happens to the main character, and that's why I want you to play at least one more chapter, because I can't remember where it happens, but something happens to the main character where you'll know it when you see it. And then eventually the way that because I guess I don't want to spoil anything, but like,
I mean, little detour, little sidetrack. I'm getting my second shot next week. So I guess right now, right here, let's just say podcast is Tuesday next week.
Yeah.
I think I can commit to at least getting to finishing chapter 3 between now and then. So we can have a lengthier discussion if we so choose.
Okay. Yeah, it's just, if I looked hard enough, I could see all those references that they were talking about with the recession and with like the depressed areas and economic downturns. I get that part. That's fine. The paranormal
and if that's the
stuff.
Game, I get it. But yeah, if they're about to mix in paranormal shit, like I
don't understand. And like, we'll play another chapter. We'll come back next week and we'll figure it out.
Table the discussion.
Yeah.
We will full on discuss this at least as far as I get next week. Hopefully I just power through and beat the whole thing.
No, it's not that long. I mean, it's probably 5 or 6 hours. Probably it's like an hour a chapter, basically.
That's what it felt like. It felt like an hour had passed whenever I beat the first one. I think that's been it mostly. Oh wait, I watched Ragnarok. Man, Ragnarok. That was funny.
That's my favorite movie.
That was a very good movie. I love the I forget his name, but the Rock Man.
Korg. Korg's great.
Yeah.
Korg is Taika.
Hey, you wanna have a rebellion?
Oh, Meek's dead, everyone. Oh wait, no, Meek's not dead.
What were you saying? No, he's alive.
Korg's pretty great. It's just like everything in that movie, just the whole tone of it, the total 180 that Taika was able to do with that series in particular.
Yeah.
The only part of that movie that's not great is Hela as a villain. Like, she's pretty one note, but there's some pretty cool scenes in it to like make up for it. But
sure, yeah. I did 100% like 20 minutes before, maybe just like 10 or 20 minutes before it happened. I was like, I know exactly how this is ending. Like 100% writing is grossly written in neon like highlighter on the wall. So that did not, like, a lot of the endings of the movies like either had a big plot twist or I didn't 100% see how it was going to work out. I just knew it was going to work out.
Sure.
This one I was like, oh, this is fucking obvious.
Yeah. I love the use of the Immigrant song too whenever Thor starts wrecking shop. I wanted an Infinity War so bad. There's a moment towards the end of the film with Thor, and I wanted the Immigrant song to kick in, but they didn't do it.
They didn't do it.
That was sad. But I just associate that song with Thor, and I hope that it's like just constantly like in his stuff going forward.
Sure.
I don't know that it will be, but yeah.
That's pretty much been it for me though.
On Saturday, I played Fall Guys in the Extra Life United Fall Guys tournament. At some point last week, they changed the rules of the tournament. I know that I read it right when I read the rules like 2 or 3 weeks ago. There were going to be 2 days. And at some point they edited it and it was just the 1 day, which is fine. I think the reason they did that was they were allowing for like 400 and I think close to 500 people they were going to allow to sign up, but they only ended up getting like almost 300, like 296 or something.
Sure.
So maybe they just decided to just do the 1 day because they didn't need to eliminate anyone for the second day.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
Because it's a little over half, but
it's close enough.
Sure.
Where they don't need to weed out and do a second day.
Yeah, that's my guess at least. So I played Fall Guys. I unfortunately did not win any money for Nationwide, but I did come in 41st place overall.
Top 20%?
15%.
Technically? 15.
Yeah.
It was the top 10 that got money?
It was the top 16 players. So I was number 40.
Like top 5.
Yeah. There were 2 final rounds where I fucked up. And had I not fucked up, I would have gotten a crown in those 2 final rounds. Like they were all on me. They were totally my fault. And had I gotten those 2 crowns, I still wouldn't have been top 16, so it wouldn't have mattered, but I would have been top 20. I would have been like number 19.
Oh,
so
would that have been worse though?
Yeah, it probably would have been worse.
3 spots away.
Yeah. That's true.
Because then you would have been like, oh, I gotta go watch my VOD and
find out exactly where I fucked up.
I gotta find the timestamp of when this is what I need to improve on.
Yeah. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm not the worst Fall Guys player, and having played, it was the first time I played on PC, which feels exactly like it does on console. So that's confirmed.
Good. As it should.
Yeah. When Fall Guys first came out and everyone was playing it on Steam, at least all the streamers were playing it on Steam. I think some of the PC Master Race discourse started taking over, and it's like, oh, well, Fall Guys is so much harder on PC. Oh, it's a completely different game. No, it's not. Shut the fuck up.
You're a bean. You're a bean with ankles that break.
You're a bean with bad ankles and horrible physics. It's not gonna. It's fine. So yeah, that was a good time. I thought about. I haven't played more Fall Guys, but I've kind of been like in the mood to play more Fall Guys.
Yeah.
Like playing for 4 hours, like, I don't know. There's like there's a lot of variety now with there being, now 4 seasons of content.
Except for the final.
Yeah. The final,
I feel like they choose a theme for the day and it just swaps between maybe 2.
I think you're right. Yeah. It was only hexagon based finals, apparently.
Yeah.
It was just hexagon and then the ice hexagon version, which is the exact same thing. So
just worse. It's the same thing, but worse.
Yeah. It's because everybody's on the same level for the entire time. There's no strategy really. It's just like run around and then hope that you find yourself in a good position at the end. Like there's no strategy.
Maybe build an island for yourself, but like
it's impossible. It's so hard to do that because there's 15 other people walking around and it's like,
and they can just jump up and down. There's not floors.
Yeah. Right.
That's what makes Hexagon good.
Yeah.
Is that you can isolate people.
Right. It's the idea of like separation. You can get separation by strategically being smart at the beginning of the round. But with the, I forget what it's called, but with the ice one, there's no positioning. There's no separation because everybody's together the entire time. So it's almost, it's a lot more luck based at the end. But yeah, I really like the bean punk levels from this season. I finally got the hang of that racing level that was giving me trouble. So yeah, Fall Guys is still fun. Can confirm, still fun. Fall Guys. Did that come to Xbox yet, or is that still only on?
I think it's still just announced for summer this year, but it's coming.
Was it confirmed?
I think that they haven't. I believe so.
Okay, I know it was confirmed for Nintendo, but I don't remember the Xbox announcement.
I think they did because I think that they tweeted, they were like, "Hey, it's coming to Nintendo," and then like, as their social media does, they were like, "Oh, oops, we forgot, it's also coming to Xbox."
Mm-hmm. So we did that.
I have a real quick off topic question, not to interrupt,
sure,
but I'm just really confused. I got gifted a tier 1 sub to a channel I've never been to.
What?
How does that happen?
What channel? You've literally never been to it?
I don't think so. And it says that I just got it in the last 6 hours.
You can sometimes be given subs, like if you pop into a chat, like very briefly, like if you even like misclicked and went into a stream accidentally.
It's a pretty well-known channel, I guess. Have you heard of Moist Critical?
Yeah.
I've never been in this channel before, and
Really?
I'm a subscriber?
Well, I don't know. That's weird. I mean, you would probably recognize him if you saw his face.
Maybe I have been in here and like I just didn't realize it. But regardless, if I was there like once.
Sure.
And it was weeks ago.
And you just got gifted it now?
It said I just got it 6 hours ago.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
That's what the notification, because a notification popped up on my interface, and I was like, what the hell is this?
I feel like I get gifted subs all the time, and I think it's because I pop between streamers really regularly.
Okay.
And I think
they want you to commit.
Well, I think the way that it works is if you are in the chat at any point during a stream, if someone gives a sub during that stream, because it's all random, it could randomly go to you.
Okay. Anyways, sorry to interrupt. Back to you. You played a lot of Fall Guys. What else did you do?
I don't know that I'm gonna go any further with The World Ends With You. I finished, so it's 3 weeks long. There's like a mission every day. So basically like there's 21 days.
It's a 15-hour game, right?
Sure.
Ish.
I got through week 1. So I got through the first 7 days.
Okay.
Now I'm on week 2. I'm just not vibing with it. I don't know why.
Nothing wrong with that.
It's like, I don't know what makes Persona so special. Like, I don't know what about those groups of characters I like latch onto, but this group of characters does nothing for me. Like the main character he sucks. And I guess I'm only a third of the way through, but like I don't care about him. the other character that I did care about is now no longer in the game because something happened. Like she got out of the situation basically. So now
sure,
I get you get a new partner each week essentially is the way that it works. So like my partner from the first week is now gone. I have a new partner who I don't like. And like, it just, I don't understand. I don't understand what people like about this game. I'm not here to shit on it, but it's just not connecting with me. So, unfortunately, I don't know that I'm going to go back to it.
I still might pick it up for mobile, just because I'm very intrigued with the idea of playing a bigger game, not just like an app on my phone. But plus, if it's only like 15 hours, that it technically came out this year, right? Not the app version, but like the Switch version and stuff.
No, it came out like a couple years ago, even, I think.
Damn.
Maybe 2018, 2019.
I'm trying to build my game of the year library of games that actually came out this year, because so far it's looking pretty rough.
No, that one came out a while ago. Then the sequel comes out this year.
That's what it is.
Yeah. But I did, on a whim-ish, decide to, in a similar vein where I want to play new games, decided to pick up Nier Replicant, which is the original. This series is so weird.
The prequel to Automata?
It's not, I mean,
Automata?
Yes. So the Nier games are part of a larger series called the Drakengard series, much like how the Persona games are part of the Shin Megami Tensei series.
Yes.
So the Drakengard games,
that creepy looking smiley face man.
Emil?
Maybe.
That's his name. I don't know.
Kind of like a frog who smiles.
I think
very round.
The one that the mask that Yoko Taro wears around. Google Yoko Taro and tell me if that's what you're talking about.
Yoko Taro. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's Emil. That's Emil. I don't know if Emil is in I never played the Drakengard games. I have no idea. But Emil he's in Nier. Was in Nier Automata too. Okay. But the Nier games are a spin-off. From what I understand, they're a spin-off in an alternate universe of the Drakengard games.
Son of a bitch.
And so I didn't play Nier, or I think it was called Nier. I can't remember, because the other thing with Nier, the original Nier, the one I'm playing right now, when it were originally released on the PS3, there were different versions in Japan and in the West. So in Japan, it's the one I'm playing right now, Nier Replicant. But in the West, it was called like Nier Gestalt, I think. And
I heard that they made a character straight who was probably definitely gay in the Japanese version.
I don't know about that, but in the Japanese version he was a boy and you were trying to save your sister. In the Western version he was a dad trying to save his daughter.
Okay. That was one of the things that I heard about too.
If they're talking about the main character, I don't know
if it's the main character. I just heard that there was a character that like was definitely. They didn't come out and say that they were gay, but they were like, it was very heavily implied. And then in this version, in the English version, they were like, nope, straight.
Okay. I haven't encountered any of that yet. I'll report back if I do, kind of, because this is the Japanese version. That's what
I heard. Yeah. I heard that it's the better version.
Yeah. So if something like that pops up, I'll let you know what it is. The other thing, Yoko Taro is that guy that's like the random anime nerd that's like, oh, you know, the boob window on this character's that it allows you to see into where it's like this really deep thing that's like, Yoko Taro's like, no, I did that because I like pretty women. And I want, like, that's Yoko Taro's whole deal. So these like the Nier, like when you look at 2B, the androids in Nier Automata, he designed them because he wanted them to look that way, because that's just him, you know.
Yeah. So whenever I see Wario64 tweet about whatever that fighting game is that has 2B and somebody else, Soul Calibur maybe.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is almost porn.
But no, there's a character in Nier Replicant that is literally just in lingerie. Like she's just in lingerie. Apparently they're gonna explain that at some point, but I don't know. I doubt they will.
I really hope that it's just, I like to wear lingerie. It's comfortable.
But anyway, Nier Automata I played back in, what was that? We were doing the podcast. It was 2017, maybe 2018. And that was the first Japanese game I had played in like decades. It like kind of spurred this entire change that I kind of did the last couple of years with some of my gaming tastes. Because after I played Nier Automata, I moved on to Ni no Kuni, and that eventually led to where I am now. But
to your wall behind
one
you.
thing led to another. And so I was planning to play Nier Replicant, but this is something I was planning on like picking up like on a discount sometime later in the year. Not day one.
Released.
Yeah, but I decided to give it a go now. Because I decided ultimately I can feel, so I talked last week about maybe picking up Returnal. Returnal reviews dropped today. They're fucking amazing. It's great. I feel like I need to accept that I'm not going to click with that game, and I don't want like to prioritize it right now. I think I'm gonna buy it and play it at some point, but it's Hades all over again, because it's a gameplay heavy game with like little story tidbits here and there in the way that roguelites are. And it's fucking hard. From everybody's saying it's super hard. Like one run usually takes people like 30 hours to be able to get to the end of the first run.
Oh, okay. I was going to say a run takes 30. That is not a rogue.
But a run is like 90 minutes. So it's a really long run on top of the fact that it's going to take you hours and hours and hours and hours to be able to get there.
To that run.
Yeah. So like I'm kind of going into it with the idea of it being in the same vein as like something like Dark Souls and Hades, where it's very gameplay heavy. All of the storytelling, or most of the storytelling, is going to be done environmentally, and I did confirm there's no jump scares, so it's all psychological horror in the way that like Hellblade is basically. So it's something that I'm planning on playing, but not right now. So with that in mind, Mass Effect is 3 weeks away. I think that I can get through Nier before Mass Effect starts. So that's why I decided to pick Nier up, and I'm liking it a lot so far. It's like it's making me want to go back and play Nier Automata, because obviously with Nier Automata being either a sequel or I guess this is a prequel. I don't know how you really want to say
it's a weird
that.
time fuck. Yeah.
Sure. Like I didn't realize that there were characters that carried over, because there's like a huge massive time jump between the games. And so like I kind of assumed that there wasn't going to be like, there might be like connections, but it's not going to be like directly influencing Nier Automata, and I'm kind of seeing the groundwork that it is. So I vaguely, the other part of this is I played Nier Automata so long ago, I don't really remember too much of it, and now having the knowledge of this game, I think I'm going to want to go back and play that again. But I'm sort of like seeing behind the curtain a little bit and coming in on
how things got set up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's really fun.
Would you recommend, so I plan on getting Automata at least, especially because it's like $20 right now for the complete version.
Yeah.
And I have a friend who's been, well, lovingly harassing me for about 2 years to play it because it's one of his favorite games. So I have no excuse now other than my backlog, which, as we know, means jack shit. With Replicant being out now, should I go play Replicant and then Automata, or should I play Automata and then go play Replicant if it clicks? Will it matter?
So normally I would say it depends on how you feel about playing old games. I know you're fine with playing old games.
Oh, yeah.
However, with Nier Replicant, they actually did go back and like adjust the combat to feel more like Automata. So it's not even like, even the gameplay is brought forward. Like if you go back and play Persona 3, that is a much different experience than playing Persona 5.
Oh yeah,
but
for sure.
The jump now from Replicant to Automata is basically negligible. So I would probably say start with Replicant and then go to Automata, especially if you know that you're going to play Automata, because, and this might have just been me back in 2018 or whatever year it was, not being fluent, I guess, in the way that Japanese media, like being rusty, I guess.
Sure.
In the way that like Japanese storytelling works, essentially. Mm-hmm. And now I'm much better at that. I can recognize a lot more of what they're doing with like plot threads. I see that more than I did back then.
Okay.
I kind of feel though, even with that in mind, that Nier Automata is still confusing. Like there's still like,
I mean, there's like fucking 19 endings. So
sure,
yeah,
most of them are joke endings. That's what
I've also heard.
There's 4, and this is another piece, is that these Nier games have multiple endings, but they're not like you play the entire game. So with Nier Automata, you play through the entire game once, and then you play through a shorter version of that from a different character's perspective, and then you do it again 2 more times from a different perspective. So like it's not the same game you're playing multiple times. And Replicant does something similar. But I would say start with Replicant and then move on to Automata. If you know that you're going to play it, I can tell you pretty confidently that I think you're going to enjoy these games. They're not super long. Even if you do all of the endings, we're talking maybe 40 to 50 hours per game.
Okay.
So I would say start with Replicant and then move on to Automata. I think you'll get more out of the series that way. But I also don't think that it's necessarily wrong to start with Automata and then go back to Replicant if you'd like it.
Okay.
Because that's what I'm doing. So
that's fair.
What else?
I assume Overwatch.
Yes. Don't need. May has a new skin, and the people are very torn up about it.
Yeah, MMA.
MMA. I don't have a problem with the skin, but some people really fucking hate it. So I don't know what to tell you if you hate it. I think it's fine. It's not great. I don't love it. I don't play May, so I guess I don't have a strong opinion either way, but
yeah. I don't think it really fits May, like her personality.
No, and I don't know if this is people. You know how
oh boy.
You know how people like to go on the internet and just like defend things?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that they're wrong, but there are people that are saying that this skin is based off of an actual Chinese MMA fighter. And like it's done, this skin is done as an homage to that person. And they very easily could have just made it a Zarya skin and it would have made much more sense within the context of Overwatch. But because it was a Chinese MMA fighter, they felt like Mei was the better option. If that's true, then great. But it also it was just some person on the internet that said that. So I don't know.
Who knows what the truth is? And
sure.
You're not about to get invested into MMA to figure it out.
No, I don't. Honestly, I don't care. I think the only other thing that I did this week is watch. I guess you could call it an anime. Calling it an anime is generous.
I think I know what it is.
Is it what is it? Goku.
Start with an I.
No.
All right, never mind. I don't know what it is.
It's the English title is The Way of the House Husband.
Oh, I know what that is. Okay.
It's on Netflix.
That's the one. That's the retired Yakuza guy.
Yes, it's about a Yakuza who decides to leave the Yakuza and become a house husband.
Yeah.
And it's really funny. Like, it's worth watching, but it's more like an animated comic than it is an actual anime.
Yeah. I heard about that. Like I heard a lot of people aren't big fans of that.
The animation sucks. The animation is not good, but I liked the story a lot. I like the humor is really funny. It's a funny show.
Yeah.
But if you're going into it expecting, Kyoto animation level animation, you're not going to get it.
Dial back your expectations, folks.
Sure. But it is really funny. I think that's it. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. Janet's getting really excited because Pokemon Snap comes out in 2.5 hours.
I am excited as well, although I probably am going to I'm gonna save it as a treat. I don't think I'm going to let myself buy it until I finish Final Fantasy. Because if I buy it, since it's on Switch and it's so much easier to just sit down and pop open the Switch, there's a very good chance that I will just play that nonstop until I beat it and then go back to Final Fantasy like a week and a half later.
From the influencers that I've followed, basically everybody's saying it's great. It's like it's a great iteration of the game. It's just there's not enough content there for it to be worth $60, basically.
Which, I mean, I feel like we all kind of knew going into it.
I think that's the key is
Snap.
Like, if you have nostalgia for the game and you go into the game with the expectation that you're just getting more of that, you're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Did you get a new strap, or it looks like you got a new head strap? Did you finally do it?
No, I
Did you jerry rig it?
It's on the edge of the Velcro.
Oh, okay.
So this will hold for like 2 more weeks and then I'll have to buy a new one. I just stretched it out about another half an inch, basically.
Gotcha. Hey, whatever works.
Yeah. So annoying. Let's move on to the news. We're going to start this week with a little bit of data analysis, John.
Love it. Give me those numbers.
We're going to take a look at the state of the game industry. I've literally never heard it called the game industry before, but that's what GDC is calling it. State of the game industry.
Hate it. Wow, this is like a real report. Like, this is an adult.
I actually had to, it was free, but I had to put in my information on the GDC website to download this. That's why I wasn't sure. I put it in the show doc. I'm not sure if you're able to read it because
I can open it and it opened as like a 29-page PDF with like almost an index on the one side.
Yeah, it's a legit report based on their survey data. But I had to type in my information. I was Josh Clasen at my email address. And then I had to put in my title. I put analyst, and my company was QuickTime Event. So now GDC has all of that information as well. They know exactly who's fucking reading this document.
Do you think that they have to like put that somewhere?
I don't know. I'm sure they use it for. I'm okay. They're never going to
live in their
read
archives as like, okay, we had 4,000 news sources check out our data, one of which being QuickTime Event with analyst Josh.
Exactly. Yep. So this is a survey that I believe GDC does every year, where they basically survey all of the game developers that are attending the show or whatever, are participating in GDC in some way. Sure. I'll read a little introduction here. It's been a tumultuous past year, to say the least. Game developers have had to adjust to remote working as well as deal with the general stress that comes with a global pandemic, all while making games for people who are in similar situations all over the world. It's an interesting, if not sadly ironic, situation to be isolated while creating entertainment that helps people get through feelings of loneliness, isolation, and anxiety. With that backdrop, we asked over 3,000 game developers about their work. We found developers have a particularly keen interest in Sony's console. A significant percentage of developers said they delayed a game due to the pandemic, and the 2 most advanced game consoles are practically neck and neck when it comes to in-development games. On top of that, we've included plenty of your write-in opinions about hot industry topics. The 2021 State of the Industry Survey is the 9th in an ongoing series of yearly reports that offer insight into the shape of the industry. Thank you all who participate in sharing your insights. So they polled 3,000 game developers about their work. I thought we might just go through this document, take a look at these numbers, see what's interesting. First up, we have here, which platforms most interest you as a developer right now? Choose all that apply. I'm only going to read the top couple. PC is at 58%. So right off the bat, most developers are interested in developing for the PC platform, which makes sense to me. Because
no, for sure.
Like,
that's the most accessible. If you put something on the PC, you should be able to just put it anywhere in theory.
You should be able to port a PC port anywhere.
Yes.
Next up is PlayStation 4 at 44%, Nintendo Switch.
PlayStation 5.
Sorry, PlayStation 5 at 44%, Nintendo Switch at 38%, Xbox Series X and S at 30%, and VR headsets at 27%.
surprising that Switch is higher than Xbox.
I thought that as well. Yeah.
Just because I know how many limitations developers have to like take into account to develop for Switch. That's always been Nintendo's fucking Achilles heel.
Sure. That's been my that's been kind of my thought through this entire, because I did go through this document just briefly to look at some of these beforehand.
Sure.
And I'm surprised how low Xbox is in a lot of this, even though they are neck and neck. This I just read above. As far as like in development games, like the awareness or like the desire to be on the Xbox console seems to be significantly lower than everywhere else.
Maybe that's why Xbox has to go and buy people.
Maybe. And like I try to think about it, and like maybe of these 3,000 people, a lot of them are indie developers, and Xbox doesn't do a great job of courting indie developers. They've tried, like with ID at Xbox and with a lot of their indie initiatives, but they don't do as well as Sony does, and they damn well don't do as well as PC and even Nintendo do. Like there's fucking every day 20 new indie titles drops on the Switch. So I thought like maybe there are a lot of indie developers working on games, and like they're maybe overrepresented in this survey. But when I go down to page what is it? It's towards the bottom. We'll get to it eventually. Oh, here it is. For studio size, that seems to be what it probably is, because when you're looking, I think of indie teams as basically maybe 50 and less. It's kind of hard to put out a AAA game unless like maybe you're a Nintendo studio. I could probably see some Nintendo studios that are AAA having a team of like 50, but basically close to 70% of the game developers that answered the survey are 50 people or less. Yeah. So I think that the indie genre is overrepresented in this survey, and that's probably what it is, but it's hard to say. So
fair.
Yeah, that's right off. That's kind of what the fuck? Can you still hear me?
Yep.
There it is. Wait, no. Hello?
Hi.
What the fuck?
Can you not hear me?
No, what the fuck? Now I can't hear me.
Uh-oh.
Why?
Did you lose yourself?
Hello? There we go. Okay.
Lose yourself.
Headsets are weird. Moving on to the next one. Which platform was your previous project released on? This one's not that interesting. I'm going to skip over it. No. Which platform are you developing your current project for? Here we go. PC, 58%. iOS, 32%. Android, 31%.
Suck it, Android.
PlayStation 5, 27%. Xbox Series X and S, 24%. PlayStation 4, 22%. Xbox One, 21%. So PC, 60% of all developers are working on a PC port of some kind, PC game of some kind.
Yeah.
Then after that, you got mobile. So in order, like, I mean, these percentages don't add up to 100. That doesn't make, because you can release games on multiple systems. But you have 58% on PC, 32% on iOS, and 31% on Android. So we're talking about the three highest categories there being PC and mobile, with consoles being below that. And then it's basically the rest of the pack. You got PlayStation 5 at 27%, Xbox Series X S at 24%, then PlayStation 4 and Xbox One are neck and neck. 3% isn't that big of a difference, but you do still see more projects for PlayStation 5 than you do Xbox Series X and S.
Yeah. So many numbers.
Which platforms will you be developing your next project on? The numbers get even more skewed here. It's only a couple of percentage points, but PC is 53%. Android and iOS are tied at 31%. Then you have PlayStation. Rude of
them to put Android on top of iOS.
Then you have PlayStation 5 at 30%. Xbox Series X and S at 25%. So there's a 5% difference there. Then Nintendo Switch at 19%. So still, there's a 5% difference there between PS5 and Xbox Series X.
I would like to point out that Google Stadia has been like at basically 5% for every category discussed so far.
There's some VR data here. Oculus Rift is the biggest one with HTC. Is Vive the new one? Wait, I thought Vive was the old one. Isn't it the... What's the Steam?
I don't know.
What's the one that people use now?
The Steam one?
No, not the... Is it Steam? The Index? No, the Index. The Valve Index. Isn't that like the best one now?
I thought so.
I didn't think that
Valve
people
Index
used...
VR kit on Steam, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think that the Vive was like used anymore. But...
I mean, people who bought it didn't want to upgrade.
That's true. Because it was like $1,200 at launch.
Yeah.
It's really fucking expensive. Here's a question.
Man, a lot of VR AR questions.
Yeah. Are you concerned that paid subscription services will devalue individual game prices? 21% yes, 26% maybe, 30% no, 22% not sure.
Oh, here it is. Yeah, I would go with the not sure, because who knows how the fuck this is all gonna work.
Yeah. I don't know. If I was designing this survey, I would not have put a maybe in there. I would have just put yes, no, and not sure. I don't exactly know what the difference between maybe and not sure is.
Also, I feel like maybe this is just me trying to be too big brainy, but I feel like everybody should have gone with no, because as long as Xbox is footing the bill and these services are footing the bill for your game, as a developer, you're still getting paid. Like,
but what they're saying is you can still buy those games on Xbox, though. So what they're saying is...
Oh, I see. I get you. Okay.
Yeah. Are they going to lose money?
I guess it just depends. Basically. I would love to know how much money somebody like a developer gets paid out by Xbox to have their shit on Game Pass for maybe even just a limited time, not even forever. I'm
sure it's such a complicated issue, and I'm sure it's not a standard thing. It's probably a case-by-case scenario.
It's 100% case-by-case. They're not paying, I don't know, Toby Fox the same amount of money that they're paying what's a giant game that they don't own?
Outriders just went to
yeah. They're not paying them the same amount. They're not paying Toby Fox, who has a beloved indie title that is now like 6 years old, maybe older. I don't remember when that game came out. They're not paying them the same price, or the same price as MLB The Show.
Sure, yeah. This might help clear something up. So, a bottomless library of games provided by services like Xbox Game Pass, EA Play, and PlayStation Plus are becoming an expectation among customers. Each service is providing its own take on a Netflix for video games to the market, bringing in reliable, recurring revenue for game companies rather than relying solely on less predictable hit cycles. But there is some concern that these services inherently discourage buying games individually and ultimately devalue game prices.
I mean, it does. I don't think that there's any question.
Oh yeah, no, it for sure does, especially for the people that are in Game Pass. Like, for the people that are already using those services, it already does, because those people are now starting to ask the question, like, why would I buy that? Like, it's eventually going to come to Game Pass, even maybe it never does.
It's even got me to be like, well, do I want to buy this game, or do I just want to fucking buy Game Pass for even just a month and play this game? And if I'll beat the game by then, and if I don't love it and there's nothing else I want to play, then okay, I'm out $10, but I can never play this game again. Who cares? Right.
So while there is still a lot of concern, they did say that these results are more positive than the previous years. So the year-on-year change indicates that as subscription services become more prevalent, developers are feeling less concerned about the devaluation of individual games.
So basically, what I take from that is that Xbox and all these people who are doing games, this service model, are paying all these developers basically what they would probably make if they were selling the game individually.
Sure.
That's how I would take it.
So I have a meaningful question here that we definitely cannot answer, and I know that Microsoft's thinking about it. I'm hoping that not necessarily the big companies like Square Enix or Sony, I guess technically Major League Baseball, are thinking about it. I'm more thinking about the Toby Foxes and the smaller indie devs that maybe don't like. I hope that they're thinking about the fact that things don't necessarily need to stay. Like, when I think about the deals that Microsoft has to be giving to these game companies right now,
yes,
they have to be substantial.
Oh yeah,
because right now Microsoft is just like Epic was. I don't know if we talked about this earlier, but there was an article a couple weeks ago about how Epic is losing a ton of money by giving away free games because
we touched upon it real briefly.
And the reason they're losing money, they're losing money, but they're doing it intentionally so they can build a base of people using their store. That's the entire point of doing it. It's an incentive.
Which I assume is maybe what Xbox is currently doing.
Sure, and that's
on a broader scale.
Exactly. They're taking a hit monetarily because there's no way in hell Game Pass. At some point, Game Pass will become profitable. At least that's their hope, or they wouldn't be doing this. But
yes,
and I don't know. I doubt that they're there yet. But until a certain point, they have to lose money. You gotta lose money to make money. You gotta spend money to make money.
You gotta spend money to make money. Yeah.
And so at some point, in the event that Microsoft does start making money, they could then be like, well, now we don't have to pay as much. You know, now people are using the service.
Now they have buying power. They've got leverage.
Exactly. We don't need to pay you, Toby Fox, as much money as we used to for your game because we don't need it. But
hey, you know how we paid you $100,000 to have your game on Game Pass for a 5-year contract? How about for Deltarune, we give you $20,000 for lifetime?
Yeah. So like, I hope that those developers are thinking about that. I'm sure that a lot of them are.
Yeah.
But that'll be an interesting thing to kind of keep an eye on. I don't know that Microsoft is like actively going out to try and gouge anybody, but like,
oh no,
this is the worry about that we mentioned a couple weeks ago, and we've talked about with consolidation. When Microsoft consolidates the power, they get to decide what happens.
Yeah.
So
I would be exponentially more worried for the indie developers who are a team of like 10 or less.
Oh yeah.
As compared to like the companies that have accounting departments.
Yeah,
that can run the math.
I'm not worried about Square Enix. I'm not worried about Major League Baseball. They can handle their shit. But
yeah,
Toby Fox,
they have people who are doing spreadsheets and crunching numbers on profits every day.
Sure.
Toby is drawing dumb things of marshes to be like, hey, I think this should go in my next game. It's really bad, but can you make this look pretty?
Yeah. Where game developers make or don't make money. So this one is broken out by platform. We got the start off with the Switch. 73% of if I'm reading this correctly, 73% of developers make $0 on the Switch. Is that
a lot of developers just make $0 everywhere?
Yeah,
from the looks of it.
I don't really know what's going on there. I assume that like maybe it goes back to that indie idea that like maybe 50% or more of this survey are indie developers that are only putting their
They're putting a 99-cent shitty game on and getting 3 sales.
And I guess that might make sense. Like if let's say 50% of this survey is indie devs.
You said it was 3,000 total, so 1,500 being indie devs?
Sure. Let's say that none of them or all of them put their stuff on PC. You look at the PC numbers here, and it's 30% make no money on PC, which would then lead me to believe that the other 50% or whatever of the people that respond to the survey that are in AAA are from Sony, from Microsoft, from Ubisoft, from EA, from Activision, and maybe aren't putting their stuff on PC. I don't know. But a lot of people are making money, but Switch is the place where the most people make no money. I don't want to read into these numbers because there's
1%. Wait, approximately what percentage of your revenue? Okay.
So 1% of all the.
So it's not how much money are you making from it. It's how much money of your total revenue are you making from this platform.
Correct.
I wasn't reading that right.
So with Switch, there's 1% of developers that earn all of their money on Switch.
So that's somebody who's developing exclusively for Switch.
Correct. Yes.
Probably. Yeah. I guess that there's a chance that they put it everywhere and the universe just decided that only people on Switch were going to buy it.
This is totally baseless because there's no causation. There's no extra section here where they were able to explain.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that the reason why Switch is the highest platform where the most people make no money is because their store fucking sucks.
That's fair.
Their store sucks. And so
I would also say that it's all the major third-party developers. Yeah, they put their games on Switch, but it goes back to that. I'm not going to buy Call of Duty on Switch.
Sure.
I'm going to buy it on a quote-unquote real console.
Yeah. We all saw what Apex Legends looks like on the Switch.
Yeah.
We don't need that.
Exactly. So you've got a lot. Honestly, you're probably getting most of your people who are making a lot of money are the indie developers. Whereas in the people who are making no money, it's the AAA developers.
Right. One thing I wanted to mention here that I didn't include, but there was an interesting stat that came out this week where Epic is making 50% of their money. Epic is making 50% of Fortnite's revenue is coming from PlayStation.
Interesting.
50%. That thing is everywhere.
Didn't PlayStation just...
They did. They
give
did.
A donation to Epic?
They sure did. Yeah.
I wonder if a partnership is brewing.
I don't know. But yeah, you think about Fortnite, and the thing about Fortnite is literally everywhere. Yeah. And of course, PlayStation, at least with PS4, outsold Xbox One almost 3-1 last generation. So just by those numbers alone, if you're just looking at the console market, it's probably going to lean heavily heavily PlayStation anyway. But I assume that there's still a lot of people playing on PC. I would assume there's even more people playing on mobile devices. Especially
that's where I thought that the 50% would come from is mobile. That's where you have people who are addicted to gacha games and stuff like that.
Right. And that's where a lot of the world plays their games, especially when we talk about Asia. And we know that Epic pushed so hard to get to get the game onto mobile devices so they could release it worldwide.
Yeah, didn't they have that whole fucking giant fiasco fight with Apple?
They still are. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is really surprising to me.
Is it back on the Apple Store? I never checked because I never cared.
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest,
I guess I can. Well, while you get to the next thing, I'll just look it up real quick.
Most game developers work around 40 hours a week, but extreme cases exist. This is, I feel like this is pretty good. Not great, but okay. So what is your average amount of hours worked per week in the last 12 months? 17% is 0 to 20 hours per week. How do I get that, Joe?
Fortnite's not.
All right.
It's not on here. The top choice is creative destruction, which looks just like Fortnite.
You remember that period, and maybe it's still happening, where every app or every game on the App Store was the same thumbnail image of a character yelling?
Like Clash of Clans?
Yes. It was the same...
The barbarian who was ah!
Yeah, and every single image, every single little thumbnail for every single app was that exact same image.
Yeah. Good times.
21 to 25 hours per week is 5%. 26 to 30 hours per week is 5%. 31 to 35 hours per week is 5%. 36 to 40 hours per week is 24%. 41 to 45 hours per week is 21%. Here is that, that's the cutoff that I would think is acceptable. As a person that works as an adult human, I feel like working more than 45 hours per week is not a great situation. Maybe you're a freak and you like doing that, and this is your life, and this is your passion. This is all you want to do. But if we just take those numbers into account, 24 plus 21 is.
Oh, I did the math already.
What is that?
So
Almost
the people who
70%.
I did two separate things. The people who are working 40 hours or less, so by definition a full-time job, but no more than a full-time job, is 56%.
Okay.
The people who are willing to do 45 hours a week, so a full-time job with a little bit of overtime, is 77%.
Okay.
So almost 80% of the people are working reasonable hours.
Yeah. Then we have 46 to 50 hours per week, 12%, 51 to 55 hours per week, 5%, and 56 to 60 hours per week, 3%. More than 60 hours per week, 4%.
Fuck off.
Fuck off. Go fuck yourself, CD Projekt.
Is that just everybody who works at a
CD Projekt
Red?
Yep, them and probably Rockstar and
a
lot of other places. So
I would love to see it broken out by. Obviously, they won't do it because I'm sure it was all like anonymous to some extent. But I'd love to get the sources of all this data for this category specifically.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there was any comparison to last year's data. Oh, it's in
another 29 fucking page PDF thing.
56% of respondents said they worked 40 hours per week or less on average, meaning most of the game industry is working no more than a traditional work week. That's in line with the previous year's results that showed 55%. So it's a little bit better, 1% better.
Oh no, when asked to please specify 90 plus hour responses, in quotes, every waking moment, workaholic, to protect my team and let them have a good work-life balance, I tend to do, oh no,
that's toxic. That's toxic. Don't do that.
I worked a couple 100+ hour weeks during the beginning of COVID. Yikes, don't do that. 100 hours a week.
How many work hours how many hours are you awake in a week?
If you're working 100 hours in 7 days, that is about a little over 14 and a half hours per day.
So you're sleeping at the office, you must be. Or you're working from home, I guess.
That, or you are just, if let's say you can function off 6 hours of sleep. You're working, sleeping for 6 hours, and getting meals and maybe relaxing for 3 hours a day. And that's if you can function off of 6 hours after working for 14.
Right.
Yikes.
Why did you work overtime?
Oh no.
73% was self-pressure. I was personally working hard and felt I needed to.
God, that's the worst part, is that it's toxic, but like it's so ingrained in our brains. We're like, no, I gotta, if I work, it's that clown meme where it's like, if I work hard enough and and put in the overtime, put on the nose. It's like,
yeah. 33% was, I don't consider the amount of time I work to be excessive.
Also toxic.
14% is management pressure. It was made clear that we needed to work those hours. 11% was peer pressure. Everyone else was working those hours.
Oh, if everybody else was working.
9% was, I don't know, I just did it.
You know, that's valid. I can't complain about that because, like, I get my work email to my phone, and sometimes if I have a bunch of notifications, I'll just go on there and read through them, and I'm like, hold up, wait.
What the fuck am I doing?
I'm not on the clock. What am I doing?
Some mornings I wake up and I look at my email before I get out of bed, just so like I know what I'm walking into. In other mornings, I'm like, you know what? I'm not on the clock for another 15 minutes. I'm not fucking looking at this email.
Yeah, for real.
And 19% said other. Yeah, I one thing I do want to point out here is, again, most of these people are indie developers, and most of them, there were, how many were one man? It said down here.
It's got to be a significant.
19% of the people that responded to this was a one man team. So
you said 3,000 people were polled, right?
Yeah. So
570 people are one man development teams. That makes sense.
So if those people want to work overtime, it's probably because this is their passion project and they want to get the game out. And like,
yes,
That's very different than your manager coming over and saying, you need to do this or you will make us fail. Those are very different things.
Well, that's the weird thing, because then the management pressure and the self-pressure are the same thing.
That's you know what? You're right.
My manager made me, but I am my manager.
Here's an interesting one about unionization. Do you think that workers in the video game industry should unionize? 51% said yes, 24% said maybe, 14% said no, and 10% said don't know. Again, I don't know why you would have maybe and don't know in there.
That 10% is entirely compromised of the one-man dev teams.
Probably.
Because they don't care.
Yeah,
so they aren't even looking at it. They're like,
sure.
Well.
Do you think that workers?
That's an interesting chart to look between.
Which one?
Do you think that the workers should unionize versus do you think that they will unionize?
Yeah. So
that 51% yes jumps down to a 20% yes.
So do you think that workers will unionize? 20% yes, 43% maybe, 23% no, 14% don't know. So do you think
just everybody's uncertain
or pessimistic?
Yeah.
So do you think that workers in the video games industry should unionize? Most people said yes. 51% said yes. 35% said maybe, or I don't know. Of those 35%, I think that some of them either are like doing it just like they've responded that way because they're representing maybe their company and they feel like maybe they can't. Answered honestly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that 51%.
Wink.
Sure. So that 51% is probably low. I think there's probably more.
There's probably room for growth there. Sure. Yeah.
Because only 14% said no. But then when you move down to the next one, people are much more pessimistic of it actually happening.
Yeah.
Or they don't know.
It's like that there was an Amazon warehouse in Georgia, Alabama, some state that voted on whether to unionize or not. And I thought for sure, based on things that I've seen, that they would. And it was like 70% voted no or something. And I was like, what the hell?
Yeah. Last statistic we'll read from this is, how do you feel working from home has affected your creativity and or productivity? 15% said greatly increased, 20% said somewhat increased, 32% said about the same, 24% said somewhat decreased, 8% said greatly decreased, and 2% is not working from home.
Fuck is that 2%?
Maybe they're in New Zealand.
What game developer is not working from home at this point?
People in New Zealand, I guess. I don't know. But when you look at that, 67%, almost 70% of game developers said that their productivity was increased by working at home.
Either the same or increased, which means
sure.
You should all be working from home, because if there's no change or a positive change.
However,
yes.
Hang on. Pandemic. Let me just read the section because there's not a statistic, but so keep that in mind. 70% of people said either they had increased productivity or there was no difference. However, pandemic measures led to game delays, game devs say. Adjusting game development workflows for a pandemic is more straightforward for some projects than others. Complications brought on by remote work as we try to keep one another safe have contributed to delayed games, according to people surveyed. 44% of those polled said yes when asked if their game had suffered a delay due to the pandemic. 49% answered no. And the remainder said that they were not currently working on a game. This is a notable increase from last year, where only 33% of respondents said their game suffered a delay from the pandemic. So 44% of game devs delayed their game, even though 70% of them are saying that they worked better from home.
The thing. There was an adjustment period. And that's probably where I would credit all those delays. Was because of that first, 2 or 3 months where people were trying to figure shit out. Now that it's all figured out, I think that the delays are going, like, if this becomes the norm working from home as game developers, I don't think we're going to see delays nearly as badly. Personally, maybe I'm wrong.
In the long run,
I think now that they have the expectation and understand what is feasible, I think that like they can give realistic timelines. Maybe they'll take longer to develop and just won't like have to delay it because they'll be upfront about it. But there was definitely like a 2 to 3 month period where everything was just chaos. And of course you're going to have delays because of that.
I agree. However, I also like we're not done with delays. We're still seeing projects delayed. God of War was announced as a 2021 game in October, I think, September or October of last year, which was several months into the pandemic, so they should have had the kinks ironed out at that point.
That's fair.
There's no way we're getting that game this year. I'm still not sure that Horizon is coming out this year.
You gotta believe. They're not gonna come out if you personally do not believe. Peer pressure.
And what about Nintendo? Where's all Nintendo stuff?
We're gonna get Breath of the Wild too. Don't you worry.
No, we're not. No chance. There's so many.
We're getting Pokemon Snap too tomorrow.
You're sure. It's just
that game is a 20-year delay.
The delays aren't done. We're still getting delays. We just had Deathloop delayed again. We're getting delays a year into the pandemic. It wasn't just the first couple of months and now everything's back on track. Stuff still isn't back on track. And I'm not saying...
What's the overall percentages though?
Sure. And I don't know. And I'm really talking about the highest profile, like the highest of profile games.
Yeah.
So there's a lot, like there's too much there to... Again, call causation or to try and figure out exactly what's happening, but it's interesting.
I mean, delays are always going to be there. Even the previous year's numbers without the pandemic, it was at 33% delayed, right? I'm saying that I think now that we've figured shit out, it will stabilize back to that 33%.
I agree.
We won't have the large jump. I'm not saying that it's going to suddenly magically go to 10%. I'm just saying that now it's going to jump back down to that 33% norm.
No, I agree with that. I think that's the last nugget to get out of there. There's some more stuff in there about some of the hiring practices and some diversity initiatives, which seem to be a really strong focus of the games industry right now. Some revenue sharing stuff. There's a lot of cool stuff in there, but if you want to take a look yourself, go download the document. You can make up a company just like we did and take a look at that. So let's move on to, we just got 2 little news stories today. Well, I guess that's not true either. What time is it? 10 o'clock?
We've got 4 news stories. Okay. 2 of them are real. 2 of them are fucking stupid.
Nonsense.
Pain.
Nonsense stories. So let's start with Xbox. We got Xbox in the news today because they came out and basically said that they want to focus on the PC platform going forward more than they have in the past. This article comes from the Xbox Wire, written by Matt Booty. Continuing our PC gaming journey in 2021 and beyond. We've talked often about our player-first approach to gaming over the last few years. In the past, that may have meant different things to different people, especially for those who identified strongly with being a console gamer, a PC gamer, or a mobile gamer. If you were to walk the virtual halls at Xbox today, I think you'd find that to us, the idea of the player has come to mean someone who plays many games, or many kinds of games, on many different devices. PC gaming is part of this. Player first has to apply for PC as well. And to that end, we've been making investments across the PC gaming ecosystem to ensure that PC is a key part of how people can play games. They do a lot of exposition. Here's something. We know that many of you play across more than just your PC, including on Xbox and mobile. That's why we are excited to announce Halo Infinite will support multiplayer crossplay and cross progression when it releases later this year. They're really doubling down on that date. That
Hell
means,
see, you got to believe.
If you're playing on PC, you can play with your friends on Xbox One and Xbox Series X and S. Why is it still releasing for Xbox One? It also means that your multiplayer customization and progress will follow you across all platforms. We have been working closely with the PC community to ensure that Halo Infinite offers a premier PC experience, including highly desired features such as support for ultra-wide and super ultra-wide monitors, triple keybinds, a wide variety of advanced graphic and graphical options, and more. We want to make sure... What?
I hope that there's a mode in the graphical options called Craig mode.
Craig mode. I want them to make that. I hope that becomes like an Easter egg somewhere. Like Craig. Oh yeah, Craig shows up.
You can, or he like they just revamp him, and like if you find his little, I don't know, locker of stuff, it just says Craig on it. something dumb.
We were also using the cloud to make console gaming accessible on even more PCs. While not meant to replace native PC gaming, Xbox Cloud Gaming allows Xbox Game Pass Ultimate members to play over 100 console games on a wide range of computers, from lower spec, entry-level machines to older devices that otherwise couldn't handle games that require more power. We believe it's important that players have a choice in where they purchase games, and we want to make accessing content even easier. We know that the PC community uses multiple storefronts, which is why we also brought Sea of Thieves, Halo the Master Chief Collection, Microsoft Flight Simulator, Age of Empires 1, 2, and 3, and Forza Horizon 4 to Steam. There are also millions of people opting to use their Xbox Game Pass membership to play. We launched Halo the Master Chief Collection at the end of 2019. Since then, over 10 million players have played it, with the vast majority of them being brand new to the franchise. Essentially, I'm going to paraphrase because there's a lot to read here. We regularly work on features. We've already added 100 titles. They're adding more titles to Game Pass for PC, which again is different from Game Pass on console. Not the same library of games.
Two different, not services, but libraries, yeah.
We regularly work on features and functionality that improves and or allows for more customized experience, like Xbox Game Bar. We're also bringing more quality of life improvements to PC gamers, including improved install reliability and faster download speeds over the next few months. We look forward to sharing more details on that soon. There's a link. I don't know.
How many fucking things do they have?
I think it's like an overlay.
Okay.
The future of PC gaming is brighter than ever. We know that we still have a lot of work to do, but based on the response from both PC gamers and PC game developers, we think that we're headed in the right direction for this community with the investments we're making. We have never been in a better position as an organization to deliver for PC gamers. With Xbox Game Studios and Bethesda developing content for both PC and Xbox, notice what they said there. The Windows and DirectX teams creating technologies that empower developers and provide PC players with features that specifically take advantage of PC hardware. Xbox Game Pass for PC featuring games for every type of PC gamer, with Xbox Game Studio games coming on day one, and the ongoing evolution of the Xbox app and Xbox Game Bar. We'll continue listening to the community to ensure we're delivering on our promises and respecting how players choose to play. There you go. Xbox Game Studios games coming to PC on day one, coming to Game Pass day one. I assume that means Xbox Game Pass PC day one.
Too many words.
Bethesda and Xbox Game Studios being developed for both PC and Xbox. Windows-centric things like Xbox Game Bar, making your gaming experience on PC better from the back end, I guess.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. And
they need to say this. I mean, I guess it's good for transparency, but I don't know if I needed this.
I kind of agree. What purpose did this serve? I don't think the PC.
That's what I'm trying to. That's what I'm really desperately trying to figure out.
I don't think the PC. I don't think the PC gamers were like angry or anything, right?
Or even concerned.
No, Like, the only thing to me is that the Xbox Game Pass PC program is worse than the console version. There is more like that's the only piece, but for the most part, I don't know that anyone's like subscribing to Game Pass specifically for PC anyway. Most people have that just as a piece of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know who this was for. Other than for Microsoft to like get their name out and have a little bit of
Did they see the good PR that PlayStation got last week and they were like, all right, we need to We
so
need
they
to remind people that we are the good guys.
It could be. I don't know, because like a lot of this stuff was just sort of I guess we didn't know about Halo Infinite. So they dropped that. I guess we didn't know that I'm pretty sure they said that it was coming to PC day one. I don't think that they said cross-play and cross-progression was happening. So that was new.
Yeah, that was new. But again, you don't need this fucking 18-paragraph long report for that one nugget of information.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know what the genesis of this article was, why they put it out now of all times. I guess it's just to like,
hey, we're still here. We're still the good guys.
I guess, yeah. Like, it's just to put their name out there, really, is the best I can see. Because they're, at least in the context of the PC community, like, they're trying to still be all about the player is what they said here. Now they're calling it the player. We're not thinking about platforms. We're thinking about players, but only players who are on PC and on Xbox, which is fine. I don't know.
Largely unnecessary.
I agree. I would have I feel like it would have been. This got a little bit of attention this morning, but I feel like it would have been a much bigger deal had they just said that like Halo Infinite was going to be cross-play and cross-progression. Have that be the story. Yeah. And then at some point in the future, when they've shored up the Game Pass on PC part, come out and say, look at this. Now we have a legitimate service for Xbox PC or for Xbox Game Pass players on PC. Like, this is going to be great. Like, this is no longer the redheaded stepchild. Here's a huge thing for you guys, I guess. I don't know. But instead it's just like, we're here. And even in the last paragraph, they're like, the reaction we're getting from PC players is largely positive. So, yay us.
Yeah.
Okay.
The thing about any kind of press release that you make yourself about your own thing, if it's not going to excite people, you probably shouldn't make it. Unless like you legally have to, like an earnings report, but that's going to excite certain people. Just
sure.
Like, this didn't excite the audience that it was supposed to excite. I don't think.
So
if they had split it out like you said, and they came out and said, "Hey, Halo Infinite's still coming out this year, cross progression, blah blah blah, all that's happening. We didn't talk about that before." If they had made a little thing like that, that would have been a cool little exciting thing. And then if they came out and fully upgraded the Game Pass on PC and came out and said that at a later date, that would have been exciting. But yeah, the way that it was all put together and just presented was not exciting to me.
Yeah. From what I saw on Reddit this morning when these articles were going around, it seemed like the general, like the main points of discussion were that it was the Halo stuff. And then basically the rest of it is like, Senpai noticed us. Like,
sure.
I guess what the article did was give PC gamers a notion that Microsoft is going to be committed to them at some point. Like, they're going to get Xbox. Like, Xbox is not abandoning that. Like, Xbox is here to stay on the PC side. And like, maybe, a reassurance, basically.
maybe they did excite the audience that they were seeking to excite, and I'm just not that audience. Maybe they were trying to explicitly excite the PC only audience.
Yeah,
I'm not part of.
I mean, I think that they did that. I also agree with you though that I don't think this really served a real purpose. They didn't have anything real to announce here other than the Halo stuff. The rest of it was just really word salad. Like they mentioned specific stuff in here, but this last paragraph, man, they used the word PC about 50 times, and like all of these different
isn't
stuff.
A word. It's a fucking abbreviation. It's 2 letters.
Look at these 3 lines. We have never been in a better position as an organization to deliver for PC gamers with Xbox Game Studios and Bethesda developing our content for both PC and Xbox, the Windows and DirectX teams creating technologies that empower and develop PC players, PC hardware, Xbox Game Pass, PC Gamer, Xbox Game Studio, Xbox App X. Like, they just fucking threw their own name out there 50 times in that one paragraph.
Was it Senpai noticed me, or Senpai wants me to notice him?
That's kind of the thing, is like, I don't like, this kind of message isn't a bad thing, but it feels weird. Like, it's like them coming out and just basically bragging.
Yeah.
Or like desperately trying to just throw their name, because again, they use the word Xbox or any one of their services literally 50 times in just this one paragraph. I don't know. It was kind of weird, and I don't know that they like. I don't think they landed it. There were some the gossip I was reading on Reddit was mostly, hey, we're getting crossplay with Halo, and then it was also like, hey, Xbox is maybe gonna like give us a better PC Game Pass at some point.
Eventually.
But it wasn't like excitement. It wasn't like people being like, oh yeah, man, Xbox and PC. It wasn't that. So I don't know. But the future of PC gaming is brighter than ever for Xbox. So
neat. Thanks. Last for this info I didn't need.
Last real news story for the day is from The Gamer. Josh Coulson writes, Sony to invest an additional $183 million into PlayStation exclusives over the next year.
Are you moonlighting?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Josh
Coulson for writing an article for The Gamer about PlayStation?
Yeah, it's close. Not close enough. Sony will continue to heavily invest in PlayStation's in-house projects over the coming year and plans to increase its investment in that area by almost $200 million. PlayStation has been big on exclusives for a while now, and their continued success alone is proof that it is set to continue. In fact, as discussed by Sony CFO Hiroki Totoki this week, that's a fun name to say, Hiroki Totoki. This week, the plan going forward is to invest even more money in PlayStation's in-house projects. During a call with investors, Totoki revealed Sony plans to up its investment in that area by $183 million over the coming year. We intend to increase development personnel and other in-house costs by approximately 20 billion yen, which is $183 million. As we further strengthen our in-house software. This comes off the back of Sony publishing its financial report for the tax year ending in March 2021. As you might expect from a year that included the launch of the PS5, the numbers were very good. Sony has sold 7.8 million PS5 since launch, an improvement on what it managed to sell under the PS4 during its same first 4 months. It also recorded a record profit for the company of $3.23 billion. 337 million PlayStation games were sold during the last financial year, which goes to show why Sony is so keen to pump more money into creating PlayStation exclusives. Titles like that's fine. We're good there.
So this is a continuation of a direct answer to Microsoft buying everybody, right? Them releasing the amount that they're reinvesting into their own studios?
It's not an answer. Like, it's not like
an answer, but like they're saying it while knowing what the other person is saying.
I don't think so. Honestly,
Okay.
here, because this is coming from Hiroshi Totoki, and it's not coming
Totoki,
Hiroki, not Hiroshi, Hiroki. And it's not coming from Sony, it's not coming from PlayStation.
That's true.
Last week we talked about Jim Ryan saying that they're heavily investing in exclusives for this generation. I think that's more in line with what you're talking about is
Yeah.
we're committed to exclusives for the PS5. We're going to have more exclusives than we've ever had on any platform before.
Yes.
I think that's more an answer to Microsoft. I think here they just put out their financial report, and like the PlayStation piece of their business is, I think, still at this point even bigger. Like it's the biggest part of their business at this point.
Sure.
So like when Big Daddy Sony gets asked questions, like I think this is more them talking to investors basically and saying, you know,
I gotcha.
we have the best first party basically team of studios. We're going to commit to those studios and invest 20 billion yen into them to put out even more first party content, because that's the key here is they're talking about first party games. This is different from what Jim Ryan was talking about with more exclusives. Obviously first party games are going to be exclusive games, but
Yeah.
I think Jim was more talking about going out and partnering with Japanese companies like we talked about, or whoever, Square Enix for Final Fantasy 16 or whoever it might be. Those are more about like third-party exclusive games that they're bringing from Haven, from Firewalk. This is, we're going to hire more people at Naughty Dog. We're going to create a third team for Sony Santa Monica. I don't know what the answer is, but this is investing in their current portfolio for what they have now. I don't even think that this 200 million is addressing, like, I don't know what studio they could acquire for $200 million. Like, I don't know like what studio would be worth acquiring at that price point. I don't think that this is talking about that. I think this is just them investing in the infrastructure they have now. I think that if they're going to go out and like acquire somebody,
well, no,
those funds
I'm
are going to be
saying,
outside of that.
I'm sorry. Maybe the way I phrased it was a little confusing. I'm not saying that they're saying this $200 million is going to be spent to buy somebody else as a direct answer to Microsoft. I'm saying that Microsoft has been going and buying people, and this is just them doubling down at, we aren't going to go buy people. We already have great people. We are going to expand our people. So not answering Xbox as in tit for tat, you bought somebody, so now we're going to buy somebody. Answering Xbox in the apples and oranges way of, you continue to go buy people. We've already got great people. We don't need to spend the money to buy new people. We're just going to better fund the people we have.
Yeah, that could be. At the very least, I think you're right there, at the very least indirectly, because even if they weren't asked that exact question, or even if he didn't make that statement with the intention of people inferring that that is a response to Xbox, it's still happening.
Yeah.
And so like if this is the strategy that they've put out, obviously they made that strategy with the intention of competing against Xbox. So like there's a strategy here, and that strategy is to compete in this space. And obviously they think the best way to do that is to invest in their current portfolio. And so that is an answer to Xbox. Yes.
That's what I meant. Yeah. Okay. Same page.
So yeah.
Spend more money, make more games. Got to spend money to make it.
And man, it just seems like they can't do any wrong. Like Returnal comes out. Returnal is the first time Housemarque's ever made a AAA. This is the first true AAA Housemarque game. Everything they've made before this was basically super pretty arcade games.
Yeah.
And Returnal comes out and it's reviewing like any other Sony first party game. Like it's a new IP, and it's being regarded in the same light. It's like on the same level, above something like Days Gone. Like this is a huge success for them, and it's coming out of nowhere. Like nobody was excited for Returnal. A lot of people like that are PlayStation fans were looking at Returnal and saying, "Oh, it looks pretty cool." I don't know that it's worth $70.
The hype wasn't there.
Sure. But now the hype's there. Like the game is, and then they come out today with a state of play and Ratchet and Clank looks fucking gorgeous and insane and amazing. It just seems like they can't, they're like set. They're good.
They have corrected their trajectory.
For sure.
That's for damn sure.
And we'll see what the rest of the year has in store for them, because I really don't think that, who are these fucking bots that come into this channel? Who are these? Want to become famous? Hey, you want to be famous? Come buy followers. That's what'll make you famous. No.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
I don't even remember what I was saying.
The bot.
What the hell was I just talking about?
You were talking about the state of play being real good, and
yeah,
they just have more and more Steam. Steam.
Oh.
Not the client.
No. I don't know. I have serious doubts that God of War is coming out this year. I don't foresee a world where that happens. Like we got the Ratchet and Clank release date at least 5 months in advance of the game releasing. They don't have to do everything the same, but for a game with the magnitude of Horizon Zero Dawn, I would think they would want at least five months of prep there, like 5 months of notice for fans to know that
Maybe.
game is coming. So we need to get that now for that to come out in October.
I mean, here's the thing. Maybe not. That was the way that they... Oh, well, I guess that they just did it.
They've done that with all their first party games, though. Like, we think about, like, back to Ghost of Tsushima was announced, like, the release date was given 4 or 5 months before the game came out. Last of Us Part 2, I think, got delayed, but kind of similar there. This has been their track record. And not to say that they can't go and change their track record. They can go and do whatever they want.
They can do whatever. They have the money.
But I would think that they would want to give at least 4 or 5 months of notice before Horizon comes out for pre-orders.
Unless they are deciding to follow Nintendo's line of thought. I mean, everybody's kind of jumped onto the Direct bandwagon. And Nintendo's announcement to release window has been more like 3 months?
That sounds mostly right.
So if maybe they want to try that out and see if it works, because I mean Nintendo's been doing real well.
Yeah.
I just don't think that they're locked into having to do a 5-month window.
Yeah,
I think that they could get away with a 3-month one. I
don't see Horizon coming out before fall. Like Horizon is a fall game. There's no way it's coming out. If it's a 3-month and they announce it now, it would come out in August. Like we're almost
at fall game. Yeah.
And
I don't see them doing a 1 month or like a stealth release for Horizon.
And I don't see Horizon and God of War coming out a month apart. I
could see Horizon coming out in like September and then God of War coming out in like literally a holiday like December.
I don't think they would do that though. I think that for their games they would want it to hit Black Friday. I think that Black Friday, at least for the PlayStation first party games, is like a for sure thing. I don't think they release a game after Black Friday. And if they don't hit Black Friday, I think they jettison until February at the earliest, or at the latest.
Early spring.
Yeah, we're not. They wouldn't release in January.
No.
I think that February, like mid-February, maybe early March, probably more than likely.
Release it when Breath of the Wild came out.
Sure. This time we'll have Breath of the Wild 2 and God of War competing in spring of 2022.
Excellent.
Instead of Horizon and Breath of the Wild.
You'll love to see it.
So yeah, I don't see that game coming out. I hope that one of those games come out. I hope that both of them don't get delayed. I would love for one of those games to come out this year, because honestly, like looking at what we have, I mean, okay, Returnal is scoring very well. Ratchet and Clank looks like it's going to be a banger. I don't think either of those games are going to be like either of those games, neither of those games can be Game of the Year. I don't think. I hope that we get like something that's more traditional, I guess. Not to say that a platformer can't be Game of the Year. Like Mario Odyssey was nominated at some point, but like, I don't know.
You just don't like platformers.
I just feel like Game of the Year, because I don't want to have a redo of 2019 where it was just like all of these, at least I don't know. I feel I have like a vision for what I want Game of the Year, what that category I want it to look like. And sure. It's usually like not high art, like fucking
no Kentucky Route Zero.
Kentucky Route Zero. But it's like it's you know, got the whole package. It's got the narrative, it's got the gameplay, it's got the characters, it's got all of that stuff.
Sure.
So we'll see what happens.
Fair enough.
I
have a little interesting thing that I discovered while we've been talking. So you know how you said that my drink looked like the can was matte? I made the discovery that it's because it was a sticker. And I guess I never thought about this, but I guess if a company discontinues one drink but has the cans already made for that drink, this was originally same brewery, but it was called the original Dank Juice, and it was their double dry hopped India Pale Ale. And yet the one that I drank was a raspberry blood orange fruitsicle seasonal or sessionable fruit ale.
Sounds like they ordered too many cans.
That's interesting. I mean, I'm glad that they didn't just say, you know what, fuck it.
Yeah.
Throw those away. But that's a neat little discovery. I have a superhero.
Little Easter egg.
Here's its underwear.
You should like post that on Instagram or something and tag them in it and be like, what's going on here?
What did I just drink? I'll do that guy from the April Fool's SpongeBob episode where he's like, what did you do to my drink? You asked for ice cubes and I only put in one.
Let's end the podcast with some fury, some righteous fury, because
yes,
things are stupid, John. First of all, Nintendo decided to randomly wake up one Tuesday morning and be like, you know what we really need to do? We need to put some online multiplayer in Mario Party. That's what we need to do.
Hey, you know that game that came out 2.5 years ago? What if we did the thing that we should have done on day one and have been harassed to do ever since day one? We did that now.
Yeah. So yeah, now you can play Mario Party online.
We come out with Pokemon Snap too.
Yeah. Great. I bought Mario Party at the beginning of the pandemic because I was an idiot and I forgot about Nintendo stuff and I didn't think to read about it and found out that we can't play Mario Party online, but now we can. So that purchase was no longer in vain. Now, if we want to play Mario Party long distance, we can do it.
Maybe we'll have a little stream.
Now, what I did not read is whether or not you need Nintendo Online. I'm sure you do.
I'm sure you do.
But
Nintendo Online's so cheap.
Oh yeah.
That I don't really even care. I'm just like, fine, take your fucking $15 for the year. Go do whatever you're gonna do with that. You're not gonna invest it in your fucking infrastructure, but just do whatever.
They're gonna bring another battle royale arcade game to.
Yeah, what are you gonna battle royale up this time, Galaga?
Yeah. So, now we just need them to do it to fucking Smash Brothers. Because why can't we do that yet?
Wait, what do you mean?
You can't play. You can't play like with you and a partner against another person and a partner.
Can you not?
I don't think so.
On one system?
So you and a couch co-op person cannot play in a lobby with someone you know and another person.
Okay.
At least the last time I tried that, you couldn't.
I've played, but it's always with people who are at their own houses, and
you can do it. Obviously, you can do it with friends. If
I thought that's what you meant, I was like, no, that's a thing.
Yeah, but you can't be a guest, basically. As far as I know. Someone correct me on that. Yell at me on the YouTube comments if that's something you can do. But to my knowledge, you can't do that. And then the other fucking thing is that Google. You know Google, that company that searches stuff for you? That thing that Google does? The word Google, the literal meaning of the word Google?
Yeah.
They put a search bar on their fucking gaming service.
I didn't even stop once to think if they didn't have one.
Who would? Like, okay, I don't know how many games are on Stadia, but I assume it's more than... Maybe I shouldn't, but I assume it's more than 50. Are you telling me?
That's how we got in this in the first place. We made an assumption that...
You know what? You're right. But up until this point, apparently, you haven't been able to search for the game you want to play using a search bar on Stadia. So if you wanted to play a very specific game, maybe a game that starts with the letter Z, you probably had to scroll to the very bottom of the page. There's maybe even multiple pages you had to click through to get to it. Well, you don't need to do that anymore because Google put a search bar in Stadia.
One of our friends in the Discord channel, I think, mentioned that people would have to do Control F.
Yeah.
And just start typing the name.
It's like
there are currently over 100 Stadia games available for purchase.
So yeah. You want to search through all those? You want to fucking have a search bar? What the? Literally what? How do you not think to do that? To include that?
Oh God. According to Wikipedia, there are currently 207 titles.
Okay.
It just gets worse. Like, great for you to have games, but also you're making it exponentially more hellish to not have a search bar.
It's Google. You know, when you go to Google, and it's literally the search. That's what Google is. Google. God. So congratulations, Stadia. You have a search bar.
You fucked up. Please, somebody just put it to rest. Pull the plug on Stadia. You just put in a search bar. So now it's time to kill it. Please.
Stop developing. That's it for me. That's all I got.
The only other thing that I wanted to mention was, have you seen some of the people making Miis in Miitopia?
I have seen some pretty disturbing Miis.
I've seen some disturbing ones, but I've also seen some that are really, really good.
So my question is, are those only in Mii, or are they upgrading the Mii editor? Like, can I bring those Miis onto my like? Can I make an actual Mii?
I don't know.
Or is it just in that game?
I think it's just in that game. Are Miis used really for anything anymore? I guess that they're used for, like, you have the Mii Fighter in Smash.
It's just the Mii Fighter, and it's just your profile picture, basically.
Yeah. I don't know. I would assume it's just going to stay on that game.
Yeah.
Since it's called Miitopia.
There was a brilliant, I think I might have retweeted it, maybe not. You never played Yakuza, right?
No, but I've seen people stream it, so I know of it.
You know, in Yakuza Kiwami or Yakuza 1, there's Majima everywhere. Do you know who Majima is?
Is he the one who does he have an eye patch?
He does. Yeah, he's the mad dog of Shimano. He's got he's a fucking insane man, basically.
Yes.
But he's got an eye patch and he's really eccentric. And basically in Kiwami, he basically stalks Kiryu around the map, and like he dresses up in ridiculous costumes to like surprise Kiryu and make him fight you, basically. Like he just wants to fight constantly, and so like at one point, he dresses up like a policeman, and then like he comes up behind Kiryu, and is like, "What you doing?" And then Kiryu turns around, he's like, "God damn it, it's Majima!" And then they have to fight. Basically, The entire premise is Majima dresses up in ridiculous costumes. So someone made Miitopia, and it's Majima everywhere, and it's just like 30 Miis all dressed up as, it's like Majima's face, but they're all in different like costumes. It's really brilliant. It's really good.
I saw a Kiryu Mii. That looks really good based on what I've seen. There's also a really good comic that I'll have to send your way where it's based on your explanation of it. This comic makes a lot more sense now. But
I don't think that's worth $60. I don't think that Mii creator is worth $60, but
it's $4.50.
Is it?
I mean, still not worth it, but I think it's releasing at $49.99.
Okay, I thought it was a full $60 title.
No, I think it's the Nintendo discount of $10 off.
Ah, yes. Thank you for that discount, Nintendo. I appreciate it. Anything else?
Join the Discord.
Please.
I just posted that comic that I mentioned in the art section because I don't know where else it would go.
If you like what you heard, you can find this podcast live on twitch.tv/QTE podcast. No. It's never been that. QTE plays. Twitch.tv/QTE plays every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, or on all of your favorite podcast services all across the internet shortly after the live show ends, and on YouTube. If you like me, you can find me on Twitter at Josh Clasen. If you like John, you can find him on Twitter at John Kameko. You can also find us both on Discord. Join our Discord server in the you can find the link in the Twitch panels below and in the YouTube description. We'll see you next week. Next week it's going to be an early podcast. We might have a guest on next week.
I'm probably gonna be dead on Thursday, so yeah.
Early podcast next week. I think next week, because it's an abbreviated week, I don't know how much news there's going to be to talk about. So I have an idea as to a topic for that show.
Kentucky Route Zero.
I forgot about that one, but
the discussion.
Maybe just the let's play. Just fucking go through it. Try and fucking maybe two minds. It requires two people to watch the game to figure out what's going on.
Two whole brains. Yes, I see.
All right. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you all next time. Have yourselves a great weekend, and we'll catch you later.
Peace out.
Bye.